Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Resolved, developed nations have a higher obligation to combat climate change. As an affirmative, we stand in absolute affirmation of today's resolution. I shall proceed to define the key terms within today's resolution. The affirmative will use the term MEDC, more economically developed countries, to refer to developed countries, and LEDC, less economically developed countries, to refer to developing countries. Two contentions will be brought up with the affirmative today. First, developed countries are duty-bound to clean up the mess they have created. Secondly, developed countries are more equipped to deal with the problem of such large proportions in terms of technology and expertise.
I stand here today as the first speaker of negatives to strongly oppose our motion that states that developed countries have a higher obligation to combat climate change. This is because we believe that all countries have equal obligation to do all that they can in their power to combat climate change, which is a global threat and not just a threat to developing nations. My partner and I will negate the motion by presenting two contentions, which are: number one, everybody is responsible not to allow history to repeat itself, which I will present in a moment, and number two, the absurdity of attempting to combat climate change by imposing double standards, which will be elaborated further by my partner.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the second speaker of the affirmative, I am strongly standing by what was said that developed nations have a greater obligation to combat climate change.
Ladies and gentlemen, the negative asks, how can the developed world do something about climate change when 85% of the world's population lives in the developing world? But ladies and gentlemen, this does not matter because this 85% of the people are not the ones who cause this problem. It's the 15% in the developed countries that cause the problem.
Stand here today to disagree with today's resolution that developed countries do not have a higher obligation to combat climate change. Basically what they're trying to say is this. They're trying to say it's their fault, it's mainly their fault. They are the biggest contributors, they are the major cause, and therefore they should have a higher obligation. That's what they're trying to say. We're saying, look, it is our problem, therefore it is our duty. We say problem, they say fault. They focus on the guilt and the fault, we focus on the problem. And that's what we need to focus on today, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is climate change, and that is what we want to save ourselves from. And therefore our case stands today. We make more sense than they do, and we say that everyone has to give all that they can. They have to try their best. They have that same obligation so that we can save humanity.